How do I handle taxes when selling antiques on eBay? Are you wondering how to manage taxes when selling antiques on eBay? It can seem tricky, but understanding your seller status and tax obligations is key. Let's break it down step by step. First, determine your seller status. If you sell antiques occasionally and not as a business, you are a casual seller. You only need to report taxable income if you sell an item for more than what you originally paid for it. If you sell at a loss, you do not need to report any income. On the other hand, if you regularly buy and sell antiques for profit, the Internal Revenue Service considers you a dealer or business seller. In this case, you must report all income and expenses on Schedule C of your tax return and pay self-employment tax on your profits. Next, let's talk about how antiques are treated for tax purposes. The Internal Revenue Service classifies antiques as collectibles. When you sell a collectible at a profit, that profit is subject to capital gains tax. If you held the antique for more than 1 year, the gain is taxed at a long-term capital gains rate, which can be capped at 28%. If you held it for 1 year or less, gains are taxed at ordinary income tax rates. Now you need to calculate your cost basis. Your cost basis is generally what you paid for the antique, including the purchase price and any associated costs like shipping or restoration. If you inherited the antique, the cost basis is the fair market value at the time of inheritance, not the original purchase price. If you received the antique as a gift and do not know the acquisition date or cost, you may report a zero basis, but this can complicate your tax reporting. When it comes to reporting sales and gains, casual sellers report gains on Schedule D, which is for capital gains and losses, as part of Form 1040. Business sellers report income and expenses on Schedule C and pay self-employment tax. Remember to deduct any eBay seller fees and shipping costs from your sales price to calculate your net gain. Sales tax is another important consideration. Depending on where you live and where your buyer is located, you may be required to collect and remit sales tax on your eBay sales, including antiques. eBay often collects and remits sales tax on behalf of sellers in certain states, but it is wise to verify your obligations and keep accurate records. Here are some practical tips to keep in mind. Always maintain detailed records of all purchases, sales, fees, and expenses related to your antique sales. If you sell antiques frequently or have inherited items, consider consulting a tax professional to ensure proper valuation and reporting. If you are unsure of an antique's fair market value at the time of inheritance or gifting, obtaining an expert appraisal can provide documentation for your tax records. So, when selling antiques on eBay, you must report gains as capital gains income, with tax rates up to 28% for collectibles held long-term. Whether you report as a casual seller or a business seller depends on how often you sell. Sales tax may apply based on your location, and keeping accurate records is essential for compliance.